Greetings everyone, this is First Centurion 753 with the next episode of Geopolitical Simulator 4, Power and Revolution, Return to the Golden Age of Greece. We are playing as Greece, and we are looking to create another Greco-Roman Empire out there. Interesting debates on the channel recently about inflation. How do we manage our inflation situation? Let's take a look at the economy overview real quick. GDP is over $223 billion. Population is at 10 million. We have a huge economic growth rate here of 14%. Unemployment rate has dropped almost 20%, down to 7%. Inflation is climbing. And there's multiple strategy and suggestions out there how to deal with inflation. Some of them say to raise salaries, which would help with purchasing power. We have a total of 416,000 employees, although some of them are saying to drop the salaries. There's different types of inflation out there. I think I've covered this in other videos. Demand pull inflation is when the growth of the economy, which is probably what we're dealing with here, is driving prices to go up. And then there's also cost push inflation, where the price of the production of goods causes inflation to go up. A lot of ways to manage the economy, or manage inflation. One way we can't do, really, is interest rates. That's typically how is the best way in this game to manage inflation. And I'm sort of putting it out there, possibly of leaving the EU, leaving the euro. I don't know if you leave the euro, you definitely leave the EU. But we're looking at possibly a Grexit situation here. And that might be one of the best scenarios here, because it's sort of more consistent with the actual purpose of the video, and that is to create, purpose of the series, is that is to create a new Greco Empire, so to speak. New Greek Empire. And becoming independent of the EU might be that first step in that direction. The Greek first strategy, so to speak. But another step to empire is going to be expansion. And we're going to first expand through intervention. Now, I've also been talking about this issue here. The Libyan conflict is right on our southern border here. And there's multiple factions involved. You have the Libyan Democratic Forces, which are one of the strongest rebel groups. They are mostly concentrated in the east. I think there's some in the south as well. And I think they have possession of some oil fields. So the move, I think, is going to first be to move against the Libyan Democratic Forces. But I still may look to overthrow Libya. There was an interesting proposal, I think it was Hugo Batista or somebody out there posted on the channel. I'm sorry if I forgot your name, but the strategy of intervening in Libya to the extent where we're going to have to switch our... First step is going to be to switch the Secret Service mission in Libya. Right now it's been to meet up with groups, and I should have probably met with those total jihadists, to be honest with you, and supply them with some ammo. Oh, I have to... I forgot about these groups. These local groups that I should be infiltrating. And I did in the past, which really knocked down a lot of their power. But as far as the exterior managed networks, okay, so Libya, it's got about 20 agents. Approaching terrorist groups was the original goal. We're going to switch to political spying. I'm eventually probably going to turn on Libya. I'm going to first side with them against the Libyan Democratic Forces, which are concentrated here in the east, Tobruk, and along the northern coast here of this northeastern province that we have here. Alright, we're going to probably try to grab all these cities. Mostly a land grab. Basically creating a zone of patrol, or a safety zone, so to speak, kind of like what Greece, or what Turkey is doing in Syria as right now. We're going to use it as purposes of a land grab right here. Grab these 5 cities, and possibly this oil field right there. This will definitely give us the Tobruk district and half of the northeast district. And I'm not necessarily going to mess with the total jihads right now. I want to let them fight the Libyans and keep the Libyans occupied and weakened, because again, like I said, I will eventually want to take the Libyans out. I don't want them to be able to resolve this conflict on their own. I'm going to be trying to exploit Libya as a Greek imperialist regime would do, and eventually probably try to grab as much oil as possible, maybe making part of this area a colony so I don't have to deal with all the refugee crisis and everything, and just annex the resources and let Libya still have some self-autonomy as far as managing the cities, and I'll grab the resources. That seems to be a colonialist approach as far as I'm concerned, or the best colonialist approach. Now in order to do this, we're going to start taking steps. First, we're going to move our cruisers into position. Let's check this out. I'm going to want them about 100 miles off the coast to start. What was that, 100? Yeah, we'll take about 100 miles off the coast. We'll send them there to start. I also have a pretty sizable infantry force here, 18,000. And I'm going to send these tanks, first-rate tanks. I'm going to save my second-rate tanks for possible more challenging contests against maybe Turkey or some other major powers. But these bases are going to get... most of the troops are going to come out. We're going to use this force here to capture the city, Al-Badad, and the force out of MLB-1 to take Tobruk. And then they'll grab the rest of these cities. Basically, this is a beachhead, so to speak, in Libya, so that we can intervene, hopefully grab oil, possibly find other oil reserves in the Tobruk district if we can gain control over this, and maybe build some oil refineries. If the Libyan Democratic Forces force the Jihadist Caliphate out of the city, we can go ahead and grab here and take control of the entire province here, hopefully. And I want to maintain control over it, which means I have to keep the fighting going until I'm able to move against Libya, like I said. Alright, so I've been talking a lot there. There's one other thing. Helicopters. These helicopters we're going to use to make a quick grab of that oil field. That's going to be risky. I don't have a lot of helicopters there. And there's only 3 helicopters there. Let's send some more helicopters south. There we go. And where are my special forces? I want to send them in as well, if possible. I think I can locate special forces here. Oh, right here. Oh, there we go. Drones. I thought I had special forces. Maybe I don't. Those are special forces right there. Where are you guys? Commandos. Alright, you're in the capital. We're going to send you right for the airbase. Alright, so that will allow us time to put our pieces in motion. Let's go ahead and start this clock. Oh, yeah, I wanted to test out inflation. Let me get a notepad real quick. Alright, looking at these inflation numbers right here. We're looking at 4.7%. And I think I am going to go ahead and increase salaries, because decreasing salaries is going to hurt us. If we decrease our civil servant salaries, that means we're going to be hitting up education and research, which are 2 areas that are areas that we want to use to promote our, Greek greatness. Return to that golden age of Greece, where Greece is the center of science and advancement and all that stuff. So I'm probably going to up the salaries. How much is it if I up them all? $100 a month. That's $500 million. That's not a problem. Or $625 million. Not a big problem, because let's look again at the budget situation here. We have a huge surplus. Huge. $6.58 billion. And there's been suggestions to raise taxes to try to slow down the economy. Let's just take a look at that real quick. 1% hike on sales tax would give us another $1 billion. What is the public opinion and Parliament's opinion of this? Public opinion is not good. It will pass Parliament with... These are all the right-wing conservative groups that seem to be in favor of the sales tax. Sales tax is generally considered to be a regressive tax, which does hurt the poor more than it hurts the rich. I wonder if I could attach a income tax cut, and we would still get pretty decent profits. A lower income tax cut to that bill. Whoa, that looks like a decent strategy. Alright, so I want to first go through a week and measure how much inflation is rising as our pieces begin to move into position, so to speak. So we got our Navy advancing there. I should see special forces moving and helicopters. There's some special forces moving into position there. Helicopters. I might as well go ahead and send... Ooh, those are a lot of troops. I don't want to send everybody down right away. Yeah, we'll send about 11,000 troops. We'll send them right to the island of Crete, not necessarily to the air base or the military base yet. They're going to be a reserve. Okay, here we go. Barton concluded with Minister of Tourism in Bosnia-Herzegovina, which could be an area of expansion. I don't believe they're part of NATO, so we may be expanding into that country. And Cyprus is another one. Expand our Levant possessions. This is the Minister of Health. That'll be good if we can get some information about those guys. There's Cyprus right there. And that'll position us to move against the Turkish naval base out here. If war does occur with Turkey. Also gives us a forward base against Syria if we want to intervene in Syria. That depends. If the Libyan intervention works out, we may go ahead and intervene in Syria as well. So, a lot of action going on here. Again, going through the week to try to see what exactly the inflation rate of increase is. I know you probably have already seen this, some of you guys, with the episodes. I just haven't gone back and looked at it. It's been about a week since I played, so I don't remember the numbers exactly. And I probably could have just looked back, but I didn't. So 4.73, and the week is ending. There's our fleet right in position. 35 cruisers. Oh, that's the other thing I wanted to do. Oh, here we go. Championship.
Our sportsmen are ready. But if I may,
Youth and sports attaché.
Before the national team's departure,
I don't know what that is. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and speak to them. The other thing I wanted to do, because a sports victory is good for our Greek pride here, I'm going to up the number of missiles. We're going to purchase another 1,000 missiles. This is going to be a one-time, once-off purchase here, because we're going to need missiles if we're going to be invading. We'll need air support and coverage. There we go. Let's get some more. That's going to be in the form of a loan, which will increase our debt by 300 million, but we're looking pretty good. Who is this? That is a container. Okay, care for refugees. Our popularity is still boosting. I think we went through the week. Public finance is up. Ambitions for the athletes.
Competition will begin in a week. All our athletes are in top form. Our objective clearly is to take places on the podium. Indeed, to reach first place.
Alright, that's good. They're optimistic. Alright, let's check out the newspaper real quick, see what's happening before we end up going to war here. The World Union for Human Rights is worried about continuous attacks by the Greek government on human rights. Really? World Swimming Championship. Kazakhstan team accused of doping. That's like the Russians in the... or the East Germans, was it? In the 80s or something like that? 70s or 80s? Correct me if I'm wrong there. Alright, Greece, a country welcome all Muslim communities, faithful thanks to the high-spirited values embodied by the Greek government. We may need to set up some more refugee camps if we're going to be intervening in Libya and allow more refugees. This allowing refugees seems to be very popular in Greece right now, so we're going to go ahead and keep pushing that. I can build another refugee camp, possibly in Crete. Human rights in Greece calls on... Who is this? The World Union for Human Rights denounces once more the repeated violations of human rights. What human rights are we violating in Greece? That's interesting. I have not really surveyed that at all, my human rights. Human rights are sort of embedded throughout a lot of this stuff. Under the media, you can look up certain human rights you might be violating, freedom of information. State pressures and influence. We don't have full freedom of expression there. That's interesting. Privatization. All channels are public. Oh, wow. Okay, so that's limitations, slight limitations on freedom of expression. Culture. Culture, we might see other ones. Events, no. Liberties, here we go. Criticism of state, freedom of expression right there. Religious criticism has to be respectful of beliefs. Violence or censorship for minors, that's good. We're going to keep that. And censorship for minors on pornography, we're not going to change those at all. Where else? I don't know. Unions are allowed. Associations are allowed. Oh, that's the other thing I wanted to look up. If I am going to be boosting salaries for the public employees, there's going to be a number of unions that are going to be pretty happy with that. Particularly, this is the Federal Union Employer Federal Union. They won't be happy with that. Magistrates, they should be happy, and they're not happy. Medicals, they're happy. Medicals happy. I did a lot of medical spending. They're already happy. I don't have to worry about them. But I'm still going to boost up their salaries. This is public employees. They're mediocre. The police are very happy with us. And the teachers are very happy with us. So the ones that we have to worry about are the magistrates. It's going to take some time and write that down for a second. This is not a furious face, but an angry face. And public services. This is a neutral face. So maybe if I bump the salaries up there, it will help to boost my popularity among those unions, which could give me endorsements for the next election, which would be all good stuff. Alright, so inflation went up 4 point to 4.9. That is a rate of 0.22. Alright, 0.22 per week is the rate of inflation, increasing rate of inflation. And I don't know if this actually works or not, but some people have told me in the past that upping public salaries would do that. I mean, that's going to improve purchasing power, which would probably increase inflation, I guess. I don't know. It's going to do it anyways because I see some more benefits, and I don't see the benefits of cutting this stuff. So we have the money. It's about 625 million. I just spent 300 million on missiles. So here we go. We'll see what happens. We'll see how much this either increases or decreases it. Alright, so that policy has gone through, and now I think people are going to like us. In the meantime, it might be time to strike. Let's just see what's going on here. We're about 19 minutes. So I am going to end the episode here and go ahead and start recording another episode. The next episode, we're going to declare war. Alright, so the conflict here again, there are multiple factions involved here. We have the Libyan government, the Libyan Democratic Forces, which are probably the strongest rebel group. There's the Total Jihad group, International Islamic Group, and then the LTU, which is an organization in the south. I think they are aligned with Libya, but they're still independent, so that's debatable. I don't know if they're in conflict with them at all. They're in conflict with the Libyan Democratic Forces. So going to war against Libyan Democratic Forces will basically get every other faction to be more favorable towards us. So hopefully that will be effective. But again, I do not want the Libyans to actually win this, because I don't want to give up. The goal here is going to be to find out something that I can get a UN mandate against Libya with. Or maybe just get close enough to take the capital eventually. We'll see. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Please like the video and subscribe if you did and you want to see more. Feel free to continue posting in the comments. I enjoy the discussion and the debate. I try to get to as many comments as possible. And thank you for watching, and thank you for supporting the channel. See you in the next episode.